I thought my sister was jealous of my success, and she thought I was selfish, but it was all scripted by the same parents, who quietly stole $400,000 that was meant for us. Imagine finding out your entire life was a meticulously crafted lie, not by a stranger, but by the very people who were supposed to protect you. My parents didn't just betray me, they systematically turned my own sister against me, and it all blew up over a seemingly innocent phone call about an apartment. I was deep into my quarterly projections, my phone buzzing quietly across the desk. It was my little sister, Hazel, and I smiled, picking it up. She rarely called on a weeknight. "Hey you," I answered, juggling the phone with my shoulder as I kept typing. The Madrid sunset was just gorgeous, streaming through my windows, painting my financial reports in those warm orange and gold hues. "Clover, guess what?" Hazel's voice bubbled with excitement, totally infectious. "I'm moving into your old condo. Mom and Dad already said yes." My fingers just froze. Right there, hovering over the keyboard. That beautiful sunset suddenly felt too bright, almost blinding. "Hazel, I managed. That's impossible. I own that condo." The silence on the other end was deafening. So long, I actually checked to see if the call had dropped. "What do you mean?" she finally asked, her tone already cooling. "Mom said it's still in the family. And you're in Spain, making good money anyway." I pushed back from my desk so fast my chair rolled hard into the wall behind me. "No," I shot back, the words tumbling out. "I bought that condo from Mom and Dad 4 years ago. I have the deed. It's mine." "That can't be right." All the excitement had drained from her voice, replaced by irritation. "Why would you be so selfish about this?" "I need that place. It's perfect for campus." My heart was hammering against my ribs. I practically ripped open my laptop, my fingers flying across the keys. "Hazel, listen to me. I paid $185,000 for that property. And I have a tenant in there right now. With a lease." "Mom never mentioned a tenant," she said, suspicion creeping into her tone. While she was still talking, I pulled up the warranty deed. There it was, clear as day. I remembered signing it, the weight of the moment, the immense pride I felt at owning my first home. "I'm looking at the warranty deed right now, Hazel. It's in my name. Has been for 4 years. That's not what Mom told me." Her voice wavered, and I could picture her biting her lower lip, just like she always did when she was a kid. Then it hit me, an icy wave. "What exactly did Mom tell you?" "That you were using it occasionally when you visit. But since you're living abroad now, I could just have it." Her words came faster, almost like a rush. "She said they gave it to you after college, but it's still family property." I pressed my palm against my forehead, watching the pieces of a puzzle I never knew existed start to click together. "Hazel, that's not true. I bought it. With my money. From them." "Well, if you come back, just rent another place," Hazel said, defensively. "Let me live there for free." The sunset had deepened to a brutal crimson, casting long, menacing shadows across my apartment. I took a deep, shaky breath. "Without a lease, you have no right to move in," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, despite the tremor threatening to break through. "And I wouldn't put my tenant out on the street. There are laws about these things." "Laws?" Hazel repeated, like I'd just invoked some foreign, ancient curse. "You've always had everything handed to you." The call ended before I could even respond. I just stood there, motionless, staring out at the Madrid skyline as darkness swallowed the city. Everything handed to me? I worked 3 jobs to put myself through school. Mom and Dad hadn't contributed a dime to my education, or so they claimed. I sank back into my chair, a suffocating heaviness settling in my chest that had nothing to do with the distance between Spain and home. I pulled up my email, searching for the property management company. Confirmation: my tenant's lease was valid for another 8 months. My phone buzzed again. Mother. I watched it vibrate across my desk, the screen eventually going dark as it diverted to voicemail. Something was profoundly wrong. The condo purchase. Hazel's mistaken beliefs. My parents' lies. They formed a pattern I couldn't yet fully see, but I could feel it. I've spent my career finding financial discrepancies in spreadsheets. I know that gut feeling when something just doesn't add up. I turned back to my computer, this time searching for flights back to the States. Some truths, I realized, you can only uncover in person. The next morning, the Madrid sun streamed through my blinds, creating stark stripes across the quarterly projections I'd been staring at for 20 minutes without absorbing a single number. My phone vibrated for the 5th time in an hour. Mother. Again. I flipped the device face down, rubbing my temples. The knot in my stomach had only tightened since last night's call with Hazel. Sleep came in short bursts, haunted by fragmented memories, signing the deed, transferring the money. My mother's beaming smile as she'd said, "We're so proud of you for this responsible decision, Clover." Was any of it real? The phone buzzed again, skittering closer to the edge. I snatched it before it fell and saw 13 new messages in our family thread. I scrolled through them without opening, just seeing previews. Clover Maria Lopez. "We need to talk about. Your sister is devastated. She was counting on. Pick up your phone. This behavior is completely." My colleague Daniela walked by, eyebrows raised at my skull. I forced a smile and turned to the window, finally hitting the call button. Mom answered on the first ring. "How dare you upset your sister like that?" Her voice sliced through any semblance of pleasantry like a hot knife. "Good morning to you too, Mom," I said, keeping my tone neutral, professional, the same voice I use with difficult clients. "Don't take that tone with me." She inhaled sharply. "Hazel cried herself to sleep last night. She's already told her roommates she's moving out. Do you have any idea what you've done?" I pressed my forehead against the cool glass, watching Madrid traffic flow 30 floors below. I told her the truth. I own that condo legally, with documentation. That was just a formality, Clover. Her voice softened, morphing into something far more dangerous. Family property stays in the family. We never intended for you to treat it like some investment. The word investment fell from her lips like something rotten. I straightened my spine. It's not a formality when I paid $185,000 for it. Each syllable was precise, measured. Money I earned. From my account to yours. Money we put straight into your sister's education, she snapped back. Did you think about that? While you're gallivanting across Europe with your fancy job, your sister is trying to finish college. I pulled up my banking app, the habit of verifying figures too ingrained to ignore. Mom, I have a tenant with 8 months left on their lease. They're paying. Market rate, $9.50 a month. They have rights. $950? Her voice rose an octave. You're charging someone to live in family property while your sister needs a place to live? You have no heart. After all we've done for you. The familiar guilt rose, a sickening wave. But something new pushed back against it, sharp and clarifying, anger. What exactly have you done for me? The words escaped before I could contain them. I worked 3 jobs through college. I took out loans. I paid for that condo with money I earned after graduation. We raised you. Her voice trembled with indignation. We provided a roof over your head, food, clothing, and this is how you repay us? By refusing to help your sister when you clearly don't need that money. I closed my eyes, steadying myself. The condo wasn't a gift. It was a purchase. Well, that's not what Hazel believes. Mom's voice turned smug. Everyone in the family knows how generous we were, giving you that property after college. The pieces clicked. You told the entire family I didn't pay for it. I told them the truth, that we helped you get established, and now you have an obligation to do the same for your sister. My hand tightened around the phone. Mom, I can pull up the wire transfer right now. $185,000, my money to your account. Not a gift. That money went straight to Hazel's tuition. Do you think college is cheap these days? While you're building your career, we've been supporting her dreams too. Something in her tone triggered my auditor instincts. The mental spreadsheet didn't balance. If you don't let Hazel move in, she continued, I'll have no choice but to tell everyone how selfish you've become. Your grandparents would be so disappointed. After all the sacrifices we made for your education. What sacrifices? I interrupted, surprising us both. Name one thing you paid for in my education. The silence stretched so long I had to check my screen. I don't have to justify myself to my own daughter. Her voice was ice now. Let your sister move into the condo or you'll regret it. Is that a threat? It's reality. Family supports family, period. I ended the call before saying something truly unforgivable. The phone immediately buzzed with a text, but it wasn't from Mom. "Aunt Marlene, we need to talk. Privately." Relief washed through me. Aunt Marlene, Mom's sister, had always been the family truth teller. The one who remembered events as they actually happened, not as Mom reimagined them. If anyone knew what was really going on, it was her. I texted back when her response was instant. "Tonight. 9 p.m., your time. Video call. Don't tell your mother." I set the phone down and turned back to my computer, but the numbers blurred before my eyes. The only calculation I could focus on was how many pieces of this puzzle were still missing. What aren't they telling me? I whispered to the empty office, the knot in my stomach transforming into something harder, more resolute. Whatever the truth is, I'm finally ready to hear it. That night, the video window opened, and Aunt Marlene's face filled my screen. She glanced over her shoulder twice before even saying hello. "Is anyone home with you?" I asked. "No. Roger took the kids to baseball practice." Marlene lowered her voice anyway. "We don't have much time." My stomach tightened. In all my 31 years, I'd never seen my mother's sister look so nervous. Her fingers fidgeted with her collar, tugging it away from her neck as if it was suddenly too tight. "Your parents have been lying to both you and Hazel for years." The words tumbled out of her mouth, fast and clipped. I didn't gasp, didn't flinch, but my hand gripped my coffee mug until my knuckles turned white. I should have spoken up sooner. Marlene's eyes watered. "I've known parts of this for almost 2 years. But Lorraine." She trailed off, her voice cracking. "She has a way of making sure people stay quiet." The Madrid morning sun streamed through my blinds, creating harsh stripes across my laptop screen. I reached over and adjusted them, needing something to do with my hands while my brain processed what I was hearing. "Tell me everything," I said, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. Marlene nodded, then minimized her video. "I'm sending you something first. You need to see it with your own eyes." A file appeared in our chat. I opened it to find a scan of an official-looking letter with a university letterhead. I started reading, and my breath caught. "This is Hazel's scholarship award." The words blurred slightly as I scanned the document. "Full ride. Tuition. Room and board. Everything." "Yes." Marlene's face reappeared. $0. "That's what your sister's education actually cost your parents." "But they told me they were paying thousands each semester," I whispered, the betrayal slicing through me, sharp and cold. "That's why I never offered to help her out more." "I only found out because I helped Hazel with her FAFSA renewal last year," Marlene explained. "She left the acceptance letter at my house by accident." I scrolled through the document again, the numbers cementing the truth. "They told me my condo money was going to Hazel's tuition." "They lied." Marlene's voice hardened. "They've been lying about money to both of you girls for years." I set down my coffee untouched. "Why are you telling me this now? Why not when you first found out?" Marlene's face crumpled, the mask of determination slipping to reveal raw pain. "Because of what your mother said to me." She swallowed hard. When I confronted Lorraine about the scholarship, she looked me right in the eye and said, "If you ever breathe a word to Mom or the girls, I'll cut you off as a sister, and I'll make everyone believe you're jealous and lying." The venom in Marlene's impersonation of my mother sounded all too familiar. I'd heard that exact tone before, though never directed at me with such naked malice. She threatened to destroy my relationship with the entire family, said she'd tell Mom I was trying to steal from her. Marlene wiped at a tear that escaped. I believed her. You know how she is when she decides someone's her enemy. I thought of family reunions where cousins weren't invited because they'd insulted my mother in ways no one else remembered. The aunt who wasn't welcome for 3 years after questioning my mother's version of a childhood story. "I understand," I told Marlene. And I did. "She's made you the villain in other stories before." Marlene nodded gratefully. "But there's more, Clover. Something bigger. About your grandmother." My grandmother died when I was 12. I remembered her as warm cookies and scratchy wool sweaters at Christmas. Little else. "Your grandmother left a testamentary trust for you and Hazel's education. $85,000. Your mother was the trustee." The room seemed to tilt slightly. "A trust? For our education?" "Yes." and a monthly stipend to your parents for your care. Almost $900 per month per child. Until you each turned 18. Marlene's voice trembled. Over $400,000 total. Over the years. Your grandmother wanted to make sure you girls were taken care of after what happened with your grandfather's business. I remembered my mother's constant complaints about struggling to make ends meet. The guilt trips when I needed money for school supplies or field trips. We'll have to tighten our belts. This month, she'd say. While 2 weeks later, she'd have a new designer purse. They spend it all on themselves, I whispered. Luxury vacations. Shopping sprees. Your father's boat. Marlene's face was grim. Meanwhile, you worked 3 jobs through college. And Hazel believed she was dependent on their generosity for her education. The betrayal was so vast I could barely comprehend it. My parents hadn't just lied about the condo. They'd stolen our inheritance. Our security. Our truth. And they'd done it while making us feel guilty for every penny they supposedly spent on us. I thought of Hazel's tearful accusation, "You've always had everything handed to you." My throat tightened. They've been turning us against each other. Yes. Marlene looked down. Making each of you believe the other was more favored. More supported. I need to talk to Hazel, I said, the decision forming instantly. Will you help me? Be there when I tell her. Marlene straightened, a hint of steel returning to her spine. Of course I will. 2 hours later, Hazel's confused face appeared on my screen. Marlene joined the call moments after. What's going on? Hazel asked, looking between us. Aunt Marlene said it was important. I took a deep breath. Hazel, I need to show you something first. I shared my screen, displaying the warranty deed to my condo. This is the legal document showing I purchased the condo from Mom and Dad 4 years ago. For $185,000. Her eyes widened as she read. But they told me. I know what they told you, I said, keeping my voice gentle. Now I need you to show me your scholarship letter. The one from your freshman year. Hazel blinked rapidly. How do you know about that? Please, Hazel. It's important. She disappeared from view momentarily. When she returned, she was holding a folder. She pulled out a letter, hesitated, then held it up to the camera. Can you email me a photo of it? I asked. 3 minutes later, we were all looking at the evidence. Full scholarship. 0 parental contribution. They told me they were paying thousands for my education, Hazel whispered, her voice cracking. That's why I never questioned when they said I couldn't afford my own place. And they told me my condo money was going to your tuition, I added quietly. Hazel's eyes filled with tears. Why would they lie about this? What did they do with all that money? Aunt Marlene cleared her throat. Girls, there's something else you need to know. About your grandmother's trust. As Marlene explained about the educational trust and monthly stipends, I watched the realization dawn on Hazel's face, mirroring what I felt earlier. Betrayal. Confusion. Anger. All those years. Hazel said, her voice breaking. I felt so guilty asking for money for school trips. For prom dresses. For anything. Mom would sigh and talk about sacrifices. And then the next weekend she and Dad would go on a business trip to Vegas. They've been manipulating us our whole lives, I said. Making us feel indebted for things they never actually provided. Turning us against each other so we wouldn't compare notes. The worst part, Hazel said, wiping away tears, is that I believed them when they said you were selfish for not helping with my tuition. That you didn't care about family. And I believed them when they said you resented my success and were jealous that I could afford to buy the condo. I felt a tear slip down my own cheek. We've been fighting phantoms created by our own parents. Marlene watched us silently, her own eyes glistening. I'm so sorry I didn't tell you both sooner. Hazel and I looked at each other across the digital divide. For the first time in years, I saw my sister clearly, not through the distorted lens our parents created. What do we do now? Hazel asked. I straightened in my chair, a plan already forming. First, we stop letting them pit us against each other. Second, we gather every piece of evidence we can find. And then, Hazel's voice was small but determined. Then we confront them. Together. I held her gaze through the screen. No more secrets. No more lies. Hazel nodded, her jaw set in a way that reminded me startlingly of my own reflection. Together, she agreed. In the background, I heard Marlene exhale with relief. The truth had torn away a lifetime of illusions. But as I looked at my sister and my aunt, I saw something I hadn't felt in years with my family. Trust. 3 days later, after collecting more documents, my laptop screen glowed in the darkened Madrid apartment as Hazel's face appeared. Her eyes were puffy from crying, but there was a new determination in them that I recognized, the same Lopez stubbornness our grandmother always pointed out. "I can't believe they've been lying to both of us for years," Hazel said, tucking her hair behind her ear. "They told me you refused to help with my tuition, said you were too busy with your fancy European life to care." My stomach twisted. "And they told me you were jealous of my success, that you resented me for leaving." Hazel's laugh held no humor. Divide and conquer. Classic. We fell silent, digesting the extent of our parents' manipulation. The revelation felt like standing in quicksand. The more we uncovered, the deeper we sank. "I found something else," Hazel whispered, glancing over her shoulder as if our parents might materialize in her dorm room. "They've been taking trips to Cabo every winter, not business conferences like they claimed." "Wait," I said, sitting up straighter. "I gave them $5,000 last year for Dad's supposed medical bills." Hazel's face hardened. There were no medical bills. My phone buzzed with an incoming call. "It's Aunt Marlene," I told Hazel, adding her to our video chat. Aunt Marlene appeared, her silver-streaked hair pulled back, reading glasses perched on her nose. "Girls, I've got more. Your grandmother's trust statements." She held papers to the camera, too small to read clearly. "Can you scan those?" I asked, already creating a shared folder. "Already did. Check your emails." I opened the attachment, Hazel doing the same on her end. The bank statements showed regular withdrawals, $1, $200 monthly for educational expenses. "But I had a full scholarship," Hazel protested. "And I paid for my own education," I added. Aunt Marlene nodded grimly. "Exactly. That money was supposed to be for you both. Your grandmother left explicit instructions." We spent the next hour organizing everything: bank statements, property documents, vacation photos extracted from Mom's Facebook profile. Each piece formed part of an undeniable pattern. "We need to confront them," I said finally, rubbing my eyes. "In person." Hazel nodded. "When?" I pulled up a flight search engine. "How about next Thursday?" "That's 5 days from now," Hazel said. "I'll be ready." I promised, booking the earliest available flight. Aunt Marlene removed her glasses, suddenly looking older. "They won't admit anything easily. You know how your mother is, she'll twist everything." "They've manipulated us long enough," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. After our call ended, I began packing methodically. Each item I folded reminded me of some subtle undermining from my parents. The blue blouse Mom said made me look trying too hard. The watch Dad implied was wasteful when I mentioned its price. I called my property management company, confirming the tenant's lease was secure. "No one enters without proper authorization," the manager assured me. That night, lying awake, I realized this trip home might be my last. Whatever happens, nothing will be the same after. The thought brought both anxiety and strange relief. My flight landed Thursday afternoon. Hazel waited at the arrivals gate, looking both younger and older than when I left. We embraced, holding tight enough to hurt. "Hey, big sis," she said, voice muffled against my shoulder. The drive to our childhood home passed in reflective silence. Fall leaves scattered across the familiar streets, golden and transient. I rehearsed what to say, anticipating denials and deflections. Hazel parked in the driveway of the colonial-style house where we grew up. The place looked smaller somehow, less imposing than in my memories. Mom's carefully tended mums lined the walkway in a tumble of orange and rust. We sat a moment, engine off, listening to it tick as it cooled. "I found Mom's diary," Hazel said suddenly. "She wrote about using your condo money for a kitchen renovation and a cruise." The final piece clicked into place. I squeezed Hazel's hand, feeling our shared strength. "Are you ready for this?" she whispered as we approached the front door. I nodded, surprising myself with how calm I felt. "More than ready." The The doorbell chimed the same 8 notes it always has, a sound from childhood now heralding the end of childhood illusions. The front door swung open, and my parents' faces registered genuine shock before transforming into a calculated performance of welcome. Mom recovered first, her surprised gasp morphing into a tight smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Clover," Dad exclaimed, his voice too loud in the entryway. "Our successful daughter returns from Europe. What a wonderful surprise." Mom stepped forward, arms outstretched, but I stepped back, keeping distance between us. Her eyes flicked toward Hazel, who stood beside me, clutching a manila folder. "Let's not discuss that condo business now," Mom said, her voice honey-sweet but her eyes sharp. "I've made your favorite pot roast. We can talk after dinner." "We're talking now," I said, my voice steadier than I expected. The 36-hour journey from Madrid had left me exhausted, but the anger coursing through me provided unexpected clarity. Hazel moved toward the dining room. "We've prepared some things to show you." Dad's smile faltered. "Can't this wait?" "Your mother's gone to a lot of trouble." "So have we," I interrupted, following Hazel. The dining room table gleamed with the same polished oak surface I remembered from childhood family meetings. How many times had I sat here, accepting their version of reality, believing their stories about financial struggle while they took luxury cruises with money meant for us? Hazel placed the folder on the table and opened it with trembling fingers. She extracted 3 documents and arranged them in a neat row. "What is this?" Mom asked, her voice hardening as she recognized the papers. "Evidence," Hazel answered simply. Dad sank into his chair, the color draining from his face as he stared at the warranty deed I'd placed squarely before him. "Where did you get these?" Mom demanded, lunging forward to gather the papers. Her manicured nails scrabbled against the tabletop as I firmly placed my palm on the documents. "The deed is from my records," I said. "The scholarship letter is Hazel's." "And the bank statements?" I tapped the 3rd document. "Aunt Marlene kept copies." Mom froze. "Marlene had no right." "She had every right," Hazel interrupted. "Someone needed to tell us the truth." Dad found his voice. "This is all just a misunderstanding." "Is it?" I slid the scholarship letter toward him. "Hazel received a full ride. You told her tuition was costing thousands. You told me the condo money went to her education. You told me Clover refused to help with my education costs," Hazel added. "You lied to both of us." Mom's denial strategy crumbled visibly. Her shoulders straightened and her jaw set in a familiar expression I'd seen whenever she's cornered. "Fine," she snapped. "So, what if we did? We raised you. That's enough." The money from Mom was our reward. The room went silent. I stared at her, waiting for some sign of remorse or shame. Dad nodded. "It was ours to spend however we wanted." "It was a trust," I countered, my voice quiet but razor-edged. "Grandmother left it specifically for our education." "And we educated you, didn't we?" Mom threw back. "You both got diplomas. What we did with the money is our business." Hazel's breath caught beside me. I felt her body tense. "You stole from your own children," I said, standing up slowly. $85,000 from grandmother's trust. "And you tried to steal my condo too." "And you tried to turn us against each other," Hazel added, rising to stand beside me. Her voice wavered, but didn't break. "You almost succeeded." Mom's face hardened into something I barely recognized. "We did what was best for this family." "No," I corrected her. "You did what was best for yourselves." Dad wouldn't meet our eyes, staring instead at his hands folded on the table. The same hands that signed those bank withdrawals. The same hands that patted our heads while he promised we were his priority. "If you walk out that door," Mom said, her voice cold, "don't expect to be welcomed back." The threat hung in the air, intended to bring us to heel as it has so many times before. I looked at Hazel, expecting fear in her eyes, but finding only resolve. "We never really were," Hazel responded softly. "Welcome, I mean. Not unless we were useful to you." I gathered the documents, returning them to the folder. "We'll be pursuing legal options regarding grandmother's trust. I suggest you prepare accordingly." Mom laughed, the sound brittle. "Good luck proving anything after all this time." "Aunt Marlene kept everything," I countered. "Bank statements, emails, even the trustee documents you made her sign as witness." Dad's head snapped up. She wouldn't dare. She already has, Hazel said. She has nothing left to lose with you too. We moved toward the door together, our steps synchronized. No one followed us. No one called us back. No tearful pleas or last-minute confessions. Outside, the afternoon sun felt too bright for the heaviness in my chest. Hazel took my hand as we walked to my rental car. They didn't even try to apologize, she whispered. They don't think they did anything wrong, I replied, unlocking the doors. That's the scariest part. We climbed in, and I started the engine. The house where we grew up shrank in the rearview mirror, becoming smaller with each second, just like the hold it has on us now. Where to? I asked. Hazel wiped a single tear from her cheek. Forward. Anywhere that's forward. I nodded and drove away from the past, my sister beside me, our shared truth between us like a shield. 6 months later, the Madrid sunset paints my apartment in amber hues as I position my laptop on the kitchen counter. Hazel's face appears on screen, her smile wider than I've seen it in years. You're not gonna believe this, she says, turning her laptop to show off her new studio apartment. I found the perfect spot, 3 blocks from campus. I lean closer to the screen. Look at you, with the grown-up furniture. The contrast with our video call 6 months ago feels like comparing different lifetimes. Yard sales special, Hazel laughs, patting the second-hand couch. But it's mine. Well, mine and the bank's for the security deposit you helped with. The $300 transfer went through for this month? I ask, opening my banking app. Right on schedule. Hazel's voice softens. I still can't believe you're doing this. Family helps family, real family, I say, sipping my coffee, watching her arrange textbooks on a small shelf. How many hours at the coffee shop this week? 28. Manager says I make the best cappuccinos on campus. She mimics frothing milk with exaggerated focus. Between that and your help, I'm actually building savings. The memory of our parents' cold stares flashes through my mind, but it fades quickly. Aunt Marlene joining our Sunday call? She promised. Says she's bringing big news. I smile, thinking of how our aunt stepped forward when it mattered most. Remember when we thought family meant suffering through manipulation? Weekly budget check first? Hazel holds up her notebook, adorably serious with her financial tracking. Our ritual, now the antithesis of the secrets that poisoned our childhood. You're becoming more financially savvy than me, I say, feeling a pride no accomplishment in Madrid has matched. Hazel snorts. Not even close, but I haven't eaten ramen 3 nights straight this week, so, progress. My phone buzzes. Mother, again. 5th attempt this month. Hazel notices my expression change. Them. I nod, silencing the phone without looking. Still trying. Last week, Dad sent a card. I returned it unopened. Hazel straightens her shoulders, a gesture that reminds me of myself. My therapist says that's healthy boundaries, not cruelty. Mine says the same thing, I admit. The support group helping? Turns out lots of people discover their parents weren't who they claimed to be. She tucks her hair behind her ear, a familiar nervous habit. But not everyone gets a sister like you out of it. My calendar notification pops up. 2 weeks until my flight. You sure your floor is comfortable enough for my old bones? I've got an actual air mattress now. Pure luxury. She grinning. We'll eat better than last time. The memory of our first reunion dinner floods back, sitting cross-legged on her empty apartment floor, slurping instant noodles from mugs because she hadn't unpacked dishes. I don't know, I tease. Those floor noodles were pretty special. You cried into yours. So did you. We laugh. The kind of deep laughter that heals something with each echo. Remember what you said that night? I ask. Hazel nods, suddenly serious. For the first time, I actually feel like we're a real family. I glance at the framed photo I keep next to my computer. Hazel and me on that first night. Teary-eyed, but smiling. Noodle cups raised in a toast. It's the only family photo I display now. They took a lot from us, I say quietly. But they accidentally gave us something too. What's that? The truth that set us free. I touch the edge of the frame. And this unbreakable bond between sisters. Hazel wipes her eyes, not hiding her emotions anymore. Worth every penny they stole. The Madrid sun sets completely as we continue planning our future. One built on trust instead of lies, support instead of manipulation, and a different kind of wealth entirely.